I greet you in the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mention both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both. And what we're going to do is I want to thank you to the people that are watching this online. And this will be on cyberspace. Once it's on cyberspace, it's forever. Okay? And you're looking at the Underground Railroad television show. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. on COMCAST, Saturday nights. But you can see me and all these people on YouTube 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Okay? And we're gonna talk about Chicago and touch on California, and we're gonna talk about global issues. It's gonna be a 3-part series, okay? But I'm gonna be courteous, and I have to tell my guests thank you for accepting the invitation to come on Underground Railroad television show.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Okay. David, and what I'm going to do is have them, for my right, make an introduction of themselves, and maybe they tell about themselves in Cobra or whatever, but I'm going to let them do that, and then I'm going to get down to work. Ladies first.
Good evening. My name is Shirley McLaurine. I've been a 30-year member of Vancouver, Chicago. We have been in the movement more than 30 years here in Chicago and in our collaboratives, other states. And at this moment now, in this particular time, we're finding that our fight is not over. Thank you.
Okay. And I want to say something. Johnny, he has his own show. And you know what? So you know what? Since I believe in symbiotic relationships, we share. He's welcome to come on the show. See, a lot of people talk, but actions speak louder than words. So tell us about your powerful show, and who are you?
Okay, I'm Johnnie Johnson. I'm an EMT by trade. I have an education in business and international business and economics. I have a show where I cover few topics. Well, I have a couple of shows, in fact, but I have a spiritual show called Holiness in the Metaverse. It's a meetup group that meets up on Zoom. Mm-hmm. So,
and what college you go to?
I'm at Malcolm X College.
All right, man. Malcolm, that's my hero.
That's my alma mater.
And I got David Kaas. You know what? I do a podcast with David Kaas. This is my maid, man. And you know what? He's my partner in crime. He really is. Go ahead, David. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Tell us about yourself.
Nice to meet all of you. I'm originally from the cornfields of Iowa, but I'm now living on Venice Beach, California. Mm-hmm. And I have known Clifton for about 16 years now. We've been friends from the past.
And you're in California.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, he's my partner in crime. Me and him been doing it for. But I want to it's time for me to get on down to work now. You know, Chicago. We're going to talk about Chicago and California. I want to ask you something, both of you, Miss Shirley, about Chicago. They just legalized marijuana in Chicago. They just legalized marijuana in Chicago, Illinois. And there were not, I think, a whole lot of blacks that got the opportunity to get contracts to have these facilities. Would you like to comment on that, or I'll leave that alone?
Right. From what I've been told through good sources, that it was not designed for blacks to be in the marijuana business because of certain politicians and other entities, private industries.
CBD oil, right?
Right, hemp, CBD oils. And due to the fact that the military, most of the military men and women have come back so mentally scarred, sometimes physically scarred, and doing the research that certain individual scientists did, they found that the marijuana was helping the people who are the soldiers and everyone that the government couldn't help, was finding that it was helping them through their therapy, and decided to legalize marijuana and make it medical marijuana. Okay, that's where it all began. And now it got up to the fact that cannabis was found to be just as helpful to the human body as the legalized marijuana.
And CBC oil. Too,
Well,
right?
definitely, because once you slice that marijuana plant, you have two plants. You have the one that was the original mother, as we call it, the marijuana plant, and number two, you would have the sister to that one.
So we can't call no names. We can't advertise on Can.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. So the CBD and hemp came into fruition after that.
Okay. I want to ask you, brother. You know what? There are not a lot of contracts that are giving out for marijuana facilities in Chicago to people of ethnic background. What is the reason, and what do you think? What do you think about the legalization?
Well, the legalization, I don't think much of it. I don't have a problem with it because it's just, to me, it's just another medicine. There's a lot of medicines that comes from plants, herbs that we use.
And CBC oil.
Right.
Okay.
So they have a certain stigma that comes with marijuana, but I couldn't put any more judgment on that than other chemicals and plants that they use in medication.
And David, I know.
But I just say I don't agree with the recreational use of it. But for medicinal purposes, no, you can't. I don't think you can argue with that.
Okay. And David, out of California, I'd like to ask you. In California, they legalize cannabis, CBC oils. What are your feelings about that? Do you think it was legitimate?
At the moment, with all the pharmaceutical drugs available, the opiates and the fentanyl and all these different types of pharmaceutical chemicals, along with alcohol and
Y'all
cigarettes.
turn it up a little back there.
Sure. Along with alcohol and cigarettes, of all the drugs that are available, marijuana is the least addictive and the least likely to make you go do something crazy when you're under the effects of marijuana. It's very mild, and I think of all the drugs, it's the best of the bunch. There are much worse things you can do to yourself than smoke a little marijuana and laugh and enjoy a hamburger.
This the thing is, you know what? There are people that are in jail right now on charges for selling marijuana or hemp and something like that, and they're in jail right now. But then they want to turn around and legally. You know, as we talk about Chicago, the political climate in Chicago, we have a mayor. You know what? I'm not going to talk about her. I'm not going to talk about her persuasion in her relationship with her wife.
Okay.
Which is her own business. Do you perceive that Mayor Lightfoot is doing everything that she can to stop criminal activity in the community?
That's very hard to say. Basically because I don't know what kind of access she has to knowing what's going on in the community. She's never really, for the last so many years, have not lived in the neighborhoods or been directly or indirectly involved in the neighborhoods. So how would she know how to, what shall I say, prepare and have the neighborhoods that's most needed equipped with what they need? So that's my premise on our mayor.
Well, I would like to pose the question to you, and I'm going to pose the question to you too. I would like to know if there was criminal activity going on in Mayor Lightfoot's, on her block, or somebody got killed, I heard, would that be eradicated and taken care of?
I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah. How come we don't get the type of same treatment that she gets?
Because we don't come together. Once our people decide to come together, we can get a lot done in the city of Chicago.
Okay.
But as the old cliche is, you know, divided, you can conquer.
Okay. And I'd like to ask you, Brother Johnny, how do you eradicate about the criminal activity that is on the increase in Chicago because of the destabilization in the economy?
Well, I always have said, I've been saying for years that the major contributor to crime in the city is policing for profit.
Nope.
So there's a direct correlation between scofflaws and red light cameras, et cetera, and crime. Yep. So these means of creating revenue for the city creates desperation because they disproportionately fine and ticket the people who can least afford to pay.
Right.
Okay. And following up with that question, if these criminal activities were taking place on Mayor Lightfoot's block or somebody got killed on her block, do you believe that it would be an urgency to call to abduct the perpetrator of those crimes?
Yeah, I mean, we live in a political economy.
Okay.
So that basically means that the resources are directed towards certain people who have political power.
Okay.
So so in this city, you have to exercise some type of political power to get results. So when there's a crime, it's usually not properly addressed unless you put some type of political pressure somewhere to get those that crime addressed.
Okay. And David, you know what, you are in California, and I'm looking at, you know what, the news and finding out that the criminal activity is going up in Venice, in California in general. What do you attribute to that, and what can we do to stop it? What can y'all do to stop it? That's right, I'm in Chicago.
Well, I don't know. I haven't really got any ideas about how to stop any of these problems out here in the Los Angeles area. It's kind of, there's just too many people and too many problems. And with the water supply running out and the gas prices going up and the food seemingly costs more,
yes,
there's a lot of problems out here. And it's not just the homeless. They come out here every fall from all 49 states.
Okay.
That's overloading the wagon, so to speak. I'm not sure, Clifton.
Okay.
I really don't have any solution to the problem at the moment.
I am told you have one more minute on Zoom. You want me to break? Oh, we'll take a break right now. We're going to take a break right now, okay? You know what? You had to take a little break, but you know that's not. Y'all probably don't care because that's not important. Because we back. But the thing is, we're talking about Chicago and we're talking about California. And you know, Miss Shirley, I want to ask you something. You know what? The red light cameras in Chicago. The Chicago aldermen, when Mayor Daley was in office, they had money, capital that was appropriated to put red light cameras where if you're driving and you go too fast, and speed cameras. Do you think that was appropriate?
No, because they didn't put it on the ballot. Let us vote for it, whether or not we wanted doggone red light cameras. I had got a ticket with one of those. I had an incident with that. Oh, yeah.
But, you know, Miss Shirley, what's fascinating about it to me is the aldermen said they signed it, but they didn't have the time to read it.
Yeah.
Now, that's a quote in the newspaper.
Yes,
Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Johnny, what do you think about the red light cameras? Is it okay? If you follow the law, you have absolutely nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, first of all, it's policing for profit, and we've talked about that earlier. So I don't like it. At the same time, it's it's a bit of a nuisance, and I don't think it really curbs accidents, and it doesn't do what they said it would do as far as reducing harm and stuff like that. But one thing that two negatives about it that directly affects me on the street is, one, you can end up with a ticket, let's say a speed ticket, from the camera. Why? Because you were taking evasive movement. Now you got to go in court and tell them why you got this speeding camera or the speeding ticket when you're really just trying to take evasive movement. Could be for any particular reason. It could be defensive driving that you're doing, but you have to think twice about it because of the speed cameras.
So both of you are telling me basically, if we did not have speed cameras, I'm playing the devil's advocate now. You're telling me that people would not take advantage of it not being speed cameras and go exceed the speed. Is that what y'all telling? I'm asking y'all.
Well, people do what they want to do. That's number one.
Okay.
And speed cameras or no speed cameras,
exactly.
They're going to do what they want to do anyway. So you got to have...
I don't.
I said people now, I generalize. I didn't call no names because, again, we have to recognize the fact that people going to do what they want to do. And these so-called lawmakers of ours, they are so, what shall I say, comatose, maybe not.
Indifferent.
Indifferent, that's even a better word. Basically because, again, they need to get someone in there that will rectify or be able to analyze and come up with a better solution.
Mayor Lightfoot is holding it. Chicago Mayor Lightfoot is holding it in committee right now. I want to ask you, we've heard the lady's perspective, but Johnny, I want to ask you, without the speed cameras, you don't believe people would take advantage of it not being, take advantage and exploit it? You don't believe that?
Presently, they're taking advantage. So we have speed cameras.
Let me say, I'm saying without the speed cameras, you do not believe that individuals would take advantage of it and exceed the speed limit without them.
What I'm saying is they are presently exceeding the speed limit, even with the cameras.
That means they're not following the law, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we follow the law, both of y'all? Should we follow the law?
My own personal opinion, that depends on how the law is written. I've never seen it. I don't know what's in it. And then I can only draw my conclusion once I do.
And I know in California, man, David, y'all got tons of speed cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Spreads tons of red light cameras. Do you think it's constitutional? Do you think it's right? Do you agree with it or disagree with it?
I have incurred a speeding ticket from a camera,
Me too.
so I know what it's like. And although the cameras are, they take the ticketing over the limit, I think the cameras need to be where they're at because just to allow the authorities to see what's going on there. I don't like the camera being used to prosecute speeders and driving offenders just because they have a camera shot of a car doing something. I think they need to repost the police in those particular areas where they notice that a lot of crime or criminals are not abiding by the law.
And David, what I gotta ask you is the same question. You don't feel in California, if those laws were not in place with the cameras, you don't feel that people would exceed the speed limit intentionally with no repercussions whatsoever, knowing that?
I just don't think the cameras should be used to against the people with the driver's licenses or with the cars or whatever. But I think the cameras can be used to inform and keep an eye on the traffic situations. I don't think they should be used, like I say, to fully prosecute any driver but just to inform the authorities what the situations are around the city and allow them to see for themselves what's going on.
I'm just a minority. I'm all by myself. But you know what? Damn it, that's okay.
I thought I was a minority too when I came from the cornfields of Iowa to the big cities, but I still feel that way.
You know, I want to ask all of y'all about Sanctuary City. Let me explain to the listening audience what Sanctuary City is. Sanctuary City is that an immigrant can come into like Chicago and they are entitled to the rights. This is somebody that is here legal. And I'm going to ask my panel, do they think that it's justified because these people are fleeing countries that are controlled by cartels, drug cartels, MS-13. And I want to ask you, Mr. What do you think about Sanctuary City? Do you think it's justified, or do you believe that this taxpayer-paying money that's supposed to be allocated for citizens should be given to non-citizens?
I don't like, my personal opinion, I do not like sanctuary cities, basically because every nationality can come here but Haitians. Every nationality of people can come here but anything darker than me and you, okay? So that's my opinion on that. And I think I wish I could recall where I read it, but it is written and you can Google a lot of stuff now,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So sanctuary cities are illegal. And
There's not going to be a Lightfoot in Chicago.
Well, we need to dissect that basically because they're illegal and they shouldn't have never happened. Why? We have never been sanctioned even in slavery. We couldn't run anywhere. So why everybody else can go where we could go and still possibly can't go to a lot of places either. We just don't know for sure.
Go ahead. Johnny, what do you think? Do you think that it benefits and helps somebody that's trying to flee a country of enchantment, of a cartel, of people that's evil? Do you think it's justified that they should get tax money that is allocated for citizens of Illinois? Should that be given to them, immigrants?
Well, it's hard. I mean, there's so many things that's going on with the sanctuary city. So it's like I'd rather deal with the root of the tree, and the root of the tree is the contradiction in law.
Okay.
Right? So,
Contradiction in what? What do you mean?
I mean, I feel you should, if you have a law, it should make sense, and it should have a principle to it so that it covers everything related.
Yes.
Right? But so now it's a contradiction when you allow people to cross the border illegally, and then legally they're able to get these resources. I mean, and I'm not saying, I don't have a problem with if the law says they can get says people can get resources. I don't have a problem with law that let this people or that people come here.
Wait a minute, you're saying two things. Go ahead, brother.
What I have a problem with is the contradiction, because when you set a law, it's supposed to establish some order. But when you reward people for crossing the border, because there's a philosophy of, a borderless society, and I'm not opposed to that. But since we do have borders, why have them and then reward people for breaking the law and coming here and getting the benefit of resources?
She made a point too. She said about the Haitians. I think I saw a picture of a border patrol agent on a horse with a whip, whipping Haitians.
Yes.
That's what I believe. And you know what? And that's terrible. And you know what, Brother David? What I'd like to ask you, David Kaas, is, are you a proponent of Sanctuary City? Do you think it's right or it's wrong for people to come into a country when they're they're fleeing in turn from the government? Is it justified? Because I know California is being overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. We've got more than our share out here. So, there's more than one problem. There's a problem of the drugs coming in with the immigrants. There's the problems of the sex trade being used by the immigrants coming in. And then there's also the problem of breaking in and stealing stuff once they're here, whether it be to support themselves or to feed themselves or whatever. It's considered illegal to break in and steal stuff that isn't yours, but that seems to be what's happening out here, and it's getting worse and worse. So the frequency of the problem is just occurring every day, and there's no solution.
And you know what, David? I forgot one thing. You know what? I had everybody make an introduction, but you know what? I was just courteous to you. I forgot for you to make an introduction of yourself and tell how people can go to your YouTube page.
Well, I'm from Iowa, and on the YouTube, you just pull up youtube.com/C as in Charlie /David L. Kaas, Kaas. That's my YouTube page. But I am from cornfields of Iowa, and thank you, Clifton, for having me on today.
Okay, you ain't going nowhere yet, because it's going to be a part 2. So what happened is we're running low on time, and this is part 1. And now what we're going to do, next segment, we're going to talk about Roe versus Wade and gun laws. And if you have any finishing comments, we got 2 minutes left.
Well, I basically would see the gun laws.
You got any finishing comment?
Would just sit down and define it.
You got any finishing comments? We're going into another segment. Any finishing comments?
No,
On the Sanctuary City?
Yeah. No, finishing comment. No. Well, what I was saying, when I meant by finishing comments, there may have been something that you wanted to say that I didn't give you the opportunity to say. But now we're running so low on time.
Okay.
But there's going to be another segment, and the other segment is. But I want you to watch the Underground Railroad. You can see these great people on my YouTube platform. And if you like, subscribe and share and comment.
Thank you.
And share it on Facebook.
Thank you.
Okay. We have Miss Shirley on, Mr. Johnnie, and Mr. Kaas. And you know what? They have been great guests, but we're going to tackle some rough and tough issues. Assalamu alaikum.